Well, Microsoft laid off 10,000 people today. That's worldwide, so Microsoft's a huge company. Is that so bad? What's interesting to me, very, very interesting to me, is that it's a tech company laying off tech people because they're replacing these people with AI. So that strikes me as something that we should pay attention to, because we've heard about the layoffs in tech based on AI, because they're the early adapters. They're the people who are going to be at the forefront of using it practically to do what? To replace people. To replace people. That's what AI is all about. Replacing people. Makes life better for the people who own the corporations, makes the billionaires trillionaires, and that's this whole thing works. So why does a mortgage guy care about job loss? Because unemployment is the biggest impact on mortgages and on real estate. Like, I'm serious. It is the biggest impact. People who are very worried about their jobs don't buy houses. We've watched that for the last year, particularly since the Trump presidency began. And people who lose their jobs can default on their mortgage. So it's a cascade effect of badness. Now, we have some extra problems in Canada. Here's our problem. In the U.S., part of all of Trump's tariff stuff is twofold. It's about raising money because the U.S. needs money. They run an unmanageable deficit. They just passed the big, beautiful bill, and that's like running trillions of dollars in deficits, cutting taxes, money every which way. So yeah, they need to raise cash in the States, and tariffs raise cash. Tariffs are also clearly designed to bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States. Remember what Trump says. Canada, we don't need your cars. We don't need your steel. We don't need your aluminum. We can make it all here. He said it. It's partially untrue in some ways because we have the lowest cost aluminum in North America. But for the other stuff, he is weirdly right. Like, I mean, it pains me. It hurts me to say it, but he's actually right. I mean, they are proving right now that they can move manufacturing capacity to the U.S. because Canadian shipments of vehicles to the U.S. has dropped 20% in just the last few months. So there's no shortage of cars to buy in the United States or here. So clearly, it's no matter what everybody said about the impossibility of moving auto assembly plants, there's clearly a way to reduce Canadians' cars being shipped to the U.S. It's very clear. It's like factual. It's the truth. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with a country in the U.S. that wants to bring manufacturing jobs back away from other countries, away from China, away from Mexico, away from Canada. Well, if you want to bring manufacturing jobs from Canada, logic tells us there will be less manufacturing jobs in Canada because it's our biggest market. When we signed the free trades agreement 30 years ago, it was the assumption that we would be the entree. We would be a great location to build things to ship into the U.S. because we had free trade. Made a lot of sense until somebody came along and said, screw free trade. Not going to do it at all. I'm going to reverse that. So here we are. So what should we think about it? Because it's so important. Well, we should think that our government tells us that they're planning on means to help us get through this, which is chiefly about beefing up EI, looking after workers who are laid off, looking after people who lose their jobs, it's all fine. But they're also talking about stuff that they're going to create more jobs in Canada by building in Canada. Okay, great. And lately it's been about providing defense products for Europe. Now, let me just scratch my head for a minute because, first of all, I don't think I think Europe's got their own problems, would rather build the stuff in Europe, but let's assume it's true. We don't have any defense companies in Canada. We have no big defense manufacturers in Canada whatsoever. So obviously we're just going to grind out parts and pieces for the Europeans on some kind of highly subsidized basis. In other words, our government's going to subsidize the manufacture of these defense products. But wait a second. Didn't we get in trouble, just finished getting in trouble with that in the U.S., that we are going to be a branch plant operation that works on government subsidies to give the stuff to someplace else? That strikes me as stupid. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the future, is building guns for Europe. I mean, scratching my head a little, but okay. How about a different idea? How about we concentrate on what we have? What do we have? We have energy. We have minerals. We have nuclear. We're the second largest uranium production reserves in the world, okay? We used to export reactors across the world. We used to be nuclear experts. We can be nuclear experts again. Why not? We've got the people. We run brilliant nuclear plants in Ontario. Why can't we build on that? Why can't we build pipelines? Why don't we build a refinery? Why don't we expand refineries? Why don't we make sure that we refine every drop of gas in Canada? Why don't we keep exporting this LNG? The liquid natural gas was just shipped out of British Columbia. First time ever. Why don't we do a shit ton more of that? That makes a lot of sense to me, because we control these things. Do you know we have the purest natural gas in the world, and we have 300 years reserves? 300 years reserves of natural gas. How about nuclear for electricity? China is building out vast amounts of electrical capacity, of electrical generation capacity. About half of it is still coal. Yeah, that's one of the reasons everything in China is cheap. They use the cheapest form of electrical generation, which is coal, which we're effectively eliminating in Canada. I'm not even going to fight that one. I'm just going to say maybe we could have gone along with natural gas. But why not just go nuclear? Let's go nuclear. Let's build so many nuclear reactors that we lead the world in the technology, that we export the technology all over the world, that we use our uranium, and we make tons and tons and tons of electricity. Let's even build some more dams. I don't care where, Quebec, British Columbia, who cares? Hydro is perfectly carbon-free. So why not? Why not become this electrical superpower? And we'll just ship it to the U.S. Sooner or later, they're going to need it. Sooner or later, the U.S. is going to need the tons and tons of electricity that China needs. So why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we do things that we control completely? Why not? And you might say to yourself, well, Ron, there's really not that many jobs there. Well, guess what? There are jobs. We don't know how many we could create. And how about this? We'll bring in a shit ton of tax money, tons and tons of tax money. The Canadian people make a profit out of shipping energy out into the world, okay? We tax the hell out of it, and the taxes supply us with healthcare and all the other things we need. So why don't we rescue ourselves? Why don't we use things that we can control? We got to think about a couple of simple things. Number one, lower taxes, lower corporate taxes. You don't like that? To hell with you. It's got to be done. We've got to attract investment. We got to attract people to bring money to Canada to build pipelines, to build refineries, to build nuclear. Our private sector can do it if some people will throw some money at it. And finally, we have to deregulate. We haven't built a refinery in Canada for all these years because the federal government won't let anybody build a refinery, nor the province, nor the municipalities. We got to understand something. We got to let some of this environmental stuff go so our kids have a future.